Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, May 9th, 2017. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and change. Of course, it's gray in May. Don't even ask me to explain the weather. Duane is joining us today with a heavy heart. He lost one of his beloved pooches, Chance, yesterday, so we appreciate Duane hosting this morning. We know that can't be easy there, Duane.
No, it's not. It's a pretty rough night. One thing they say about dogs is when they go across the Rainbow Bridge. And at 6:30 this morning, I got up, went to the bathroom, and for the first time in I don't know how long, I looked out the bathroom window and there was a rainbow. So, yeah, it was a pretty rough night, but, we move on.
We know that, or at least we hope that Bucknuts provides a distraction to many when things aren't going as well as they could be in your day-to-day life, and you can get on here and listen to a couple of knuckleheads chat about the Buckeyes. Sometimes it can be an escape, so hopefully we can provide that for Duane as he even helps us out today. And the Buckeyes certainly are doing quite well. We opened up the front row for questions for Duane, and you guys did an amazing job. I'm literally just going to go down the list here. And for those of you who think, hey, when Dan posts a Ask Duane questions thread, he just doesn't have any ideas for the BM5, and we're doing his work for him. You are right. So here we go. Duane. This is courtesy of Brutus and Woody. Is there an Ohio kid who doesn't have an offer that you think Ohio State should have offered?
Right now, I really like the kid, and he still could get an offer. It's the offensive lineman from Cleveland St. Ignatius, Derek Kennard. I really like the kid. He's a massive kid, got really good feet. Bill saw him recently and said he was really impressed with what he saw. Now I understand we're going after some national kids, and you gotta wait. He still could. The other kid I would think about is the tight end from Pickerington. His name's Tillerson.
Yeah.
Gillison, excuse me. That kid I've watched his film and I thought, well, why are we not offering him? I mean, we're in on some national kids. This is the best tight end class I've seen in I don't know how long. But he belongs in that he's top 10 national, tight end from my observation. And, Michigan State really got a good football player there. And we didn't show a great deal of interest in him. Maybe we knew we were in good shape with Ruckert, and there's some other kids, but he catches the ball and is as athletic as anybody out there. Probably not that big kid like Ruckert really takes care of business in line blocking. He can line up next to the tackle, and you can double anybody you want with him. He's big time. So maybe that was the difference, but that kid can catch football, and he knows what to do with it after he catches it.
If the Pickerington kid going to a Michigan-based school without an offer from the Buckeyes, he'll probably end up getting drafted by the Cowboys, so we all have that to look forward to, or not at all. Matt Jones, this is the next question, comes from Buckeye 2001. I think this is a common question. Matt Jones, the big man from Brooklyn. We had a boarding house item about him yesterday. What position do you see Matt Jones playing in college? Basically, this is an offensive line or defensive line question.
Where do I see him? I see him as a defensive tackle. I just don't understand this offensive line talk. It's not that he can't play on the offensive line. I mean, if you can play defense, you can play offense. But it's just, one of those etched in stone rules of recruiting is if you've got a kid that can play on the defensive line, he's that athletic, you play him on the defensive line. So I don't know. Maybe we're thinking about, we want to upgrade the athleticism on the offensive line. Maybe that's the thinking. He could definitely play it. He is outstanding offensive lineman. But on defense is that's just you get I mean, we're talking about playing as offensive guard or a center, and I look to the NFL draft. Defensive tackles, which is what Jones would be, are drafted. Elite ones go in the top 10, top 20 of the draft. Guards and centers don't. It's the value in the position. You've got to try to play a kid. If you can play a kid on defense, big kid on defense, you play him on defense. But it looks like we're going to go with guard, maybe center with him. It looks like we're going to get him. Outstanding, big physical athlete. Love him.
Speaking of big studs, this is from W.J. James 01. And yes, I am bouncing around here to try and keep some of the questions topical and not be redundant. So if I skipped you, let me know and we'll get you back next week. Duane, other than Jackson Carman and hopefully Micah Parsons, what recruit has the most upside in this class, you think?
Wow. It's already an outstanding class. It didn't come together as quickly as last year's class. But I got to look at Brenton Cox. I think that he's more a weak side end than he is a strong side end. He's a big kid, but he's also got that first step, and that's everything with an edge rusher. He's outstanding. He's number 2 or number 3, a strong side end, listed 247, and I'd have him right at the top of the list of weak side ends. Kid's outstanding. Long. He uses his hands really well. That is such a thing. You see kids, you have to learn it eventually. Kids that are just naturally inclined to get their hands out there, get them on a guy, and move him. That's what you see out of Cox. He's got a great burst to the quarterback once he gets rid of a blocker. He's outstanding. And, he's doing things like putting up pictures of Ohio State stuff on his Twitter and all that. And, everyone's worried about Georgia flipping him. And he's not showing any signs of it right now. We got to revisit that when we get back to the season. You start getting into stadiums and seeing games and getting romanced by staffs. You always got to worry about that. Won't have to worry about it as long this year, Dan. We've got yesterday they instituted the early signing period, so we can get a kid in the class in December this time. So we won't have to worry about trying to hold on to him until first week of February. But that kid right there, that's an outstanding kid.
Yeah, for a guy like us, when you go in and get a kid out of Georgia and they verbally commit, and I mean Georgia or any other recruiting hotbed, non-Ohio, I think you can go one of two ways. The kid can either dig his back foot in and become, even more committed with everyone around him telling him not to go to Ohio State, or they can flip, and I do get the sense that Cox has dug his foot in, which is good. Another question from W.J. James, because we asked. He's a big bourbon drinker. He prefers Blanton's, Tin Cup, and Woodford. What is Duane's favorite bourbon?
Oh, I'd have to say Maker's Mark 46. That is just I had gravitated towards Scotch for years, but Maker's Mark is something I reach on the shelf and pluck on occasion. Yeah. Really enjoy that.
I keep a bottle of Maker's Mark. I'm a Johnny Walker Black guy, but I keep a bottle of Maker's Mark in the house for just to be a good host. All right, here we go. With some recent staff changes over the past few years and combinations that maybe didn't work as well, how do you think the addition of Bill Davis to Schiano's defensive team will work?
I think you got a real veteran guy there who has coached at the NFL level. You're talking about a guy who knows the intricacies of any kind of defense that Schiano might want to run. He's not going to be a guy that needs to get up to speed. He's just going to step in and go, okay, well, we want us to do this and this and this. And it looks like he's helping on the recruiting trail, which is what my biggest concern was, is a guy who's never really done that, to come in and have to, he's dealt with multi-million-dollar athletes, but they're at least grown men. And to see the same attitudes in a 17-year-old, I thought that would be a problem for him, but he's just took to it like a duck takes to water. But I don't think he's going to have any problem fitting in. I think he can offer some things. I think that they can be they can help each other out. I think that Schiano would respect a guy like Bill Davis enough to take what he's saying and incorporate it into the defense. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do together, putting their heads together and hopefully come up with a few more blitzes, because with the front four we have, you add some blitzes and it's just going to be, nobody's going to be able to block that front seven.
Another one from Walt Sears, the devoted BM5er. What is your opinion of linebacker recruit Michael Harris versus the others Ohio State is pursuing?
Well, he belongs in the conversation with the best in the country. I think that something that may be impacting his ranking is that he is a kid that's a natural inside linebacker, but he's got the size of an outside guy. He's just not that 230-pound kid that you want in the middle of your defense. But I think I don't worry about it. I think he's outstanding. I mean, he's got great instincts, he's got great speed, and he's one of the best tackling linebackers I've seen in a while. He hits hard and he wraps. That's one thing. You see some of these kids that are hard hitting, but they're not wrapping. Well, they're used to guys just dropping in high school ball. That's not going to happen at the college level. You hit a guy and don't wrap in the college game, he's going to bounce off and move on. You got to make him absorb that hit by wrapping. Michael Harris does that. He's outstanding at it. Love his instincts, how he reads the game, and he's got a lot of speed. So I'm saying you bring him in, you put as much weight as you can on him without impacting his speed and athleticism. And if he's still not being able to stand up to college linemen, then you move him outside. He's going to be still fast enough to play outside.
Yeah, we saw Chris Worley has added almost 40 to 50 pounds since he's gotten here, and he's gotten faster. So the Mighty Mick should be able to handle that. That shouldn't be a concern. I'm going to kind of combine this question here into one. If Duane was running the Buckeyes defense, what would be his starting defensive line?
Oh, my goodness. So many options. Well, let's start with the ends. You've got to have Lewis on the field. Obviously, you're going to put him on the strong side. On the weak side, we've been in big discussions about Hubbard, and he might be a guy that could go in the first round of the draft. I just don't see that. I see him as more we talk about a basketball guy, the floor game. He's not a big scorer or anything. Doesn't do anything spectacular. He just does little things. And Hubbard does all the right things. But on the edge, I want a guy that's going to give me sacks. So I got to go with Jalen Holmes. Chase Young might have something to say about that. I really think that young man is going to have an impression very early, and we'll be happy to hold on to him for 3 years. Inside, you've got to go with Hill and Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones, if you get an opportunity, if you could sit down with 10 observers of spring ball that were there for most of the practices, I think most of them would say Draymond Jones was the star of spring. He really came on. He's figured it out. He knows how to play tackle. He's not an end anymore. I think that Draymond Jones could end up being an early entry star this year. That'd be my starting four, but you're going to see a lot of guys getting in there. You got to have Bosa in there. Like I said, Chase Young, a guy that I didn't hear anything about this spring, but who just jumped out at me at the in the spring game was Jonathan Cooper. He had a couple of sacks and a couple of other pressures, and I think he had a tackle for loss. So, it's just an abundance of talent that just trying to find reps for all these guys.
So you would go Lewis, Jones, Bosa, Holmes.
No, Hill and Holmes.
Hill.
You got to get bigger inside. You got to get bigger. We got to have a big guy in there. Now, here's the thing. We're understanding that Hill may not be with us for a few games. So if that is the case, then that completely changes the makeup. And one kid that I really just loved his effort, he's a big kid, and, was Tracy Sprinkle. We got to have bigger guys in there. Bosa is just not going to be a kid that can stand in there and take on 320-pound guards every down for an entire season. He's just not. You want him in there on passing downs. He just destroys them. They can't catch him. They can't get a hand on him. He's eating them up in the passing game. And you could rotate him in there because he's done enough. We've seen him stand up in there, but just the constant pounding it's just not in his best interest.
It does seem, though, like, and I believe Michael Hill will be out for the first few games. It does seem like that second tackle position inside next to Raymond Jones is going to be at least the one that we don't know as much about heading into the season. Okay, we're going to do 2 off-topic questions here and then finish with some football. Is tequila in your wheelhouse, and have you tried Casamigos?
I had a margarita this weekend and enjoyed it immensely. I've never been one that has been a white spirits drinker myself, but I've tried a few tequilas. I've tried some mezcal. It's just not something I prefer, so I'm not really familiar with tequila brands.
Apparently it's George Clooney's tequila. That's like a trendy thing to do, is make your tequila. I will tell you this, for me, and we all have our experiences, tequila is the devil's blood for me. I cannot drink tequila. There's a bar in Hilton Head, circa 1990 that will attest to that. So there's my answer. Okay, here's another one. You go to a barbecue cook-off. On one side is Johnny Trigg cooking his world-famous barbecue ribs. On the other side is Big Myron Mixon cooking his whole hog barbecue. Which one do you choose? You cannot choose both.
Oh, I'm going Myron Mixon. Winningest man in barbecue. And I know Johnny Triggs I've watched him win so many contests with ribs. But I got to go with Myron Mixon, man, and get into that whole hog, get some of that tenderloin with some sauce that Myron Mixon's come up with. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going to roll with. Don't even need to think about it hard.
That's good stuff. All right, final football question. And this guy's name is emerging. I'm getting the feeling that nationally his reputation has emerged. What are your thoughts on class of 2018 Columbus area native Zach Harrison?
Probably going to be the best defensive end to come out of Ohio, maybe ever. That kid is so athletic already. He's a big kid. He's very coordinated, very agile for his size. What a specimen he's going to be. I don't know. Jonathan Cooper was up there. I don't know if we're ever going to see something like Zach again. He's just really special. It's great that he seems to be a kid that's just a matter of time before he commits to be a Buckeye. Super athletic kid. And Bill Kurlick knows his family and says just an outstanding young man. So, yeah, he's a high target guy like Carmen is in this class. We got to have him. He's, some people don't like the must-get label, but he's definitely falls into the must-get category.
There's a reason Bill Kurlick ends up jogging past his high school every now and then. He's a smart man. That's a good way to finish it. We appreciate you guys submitting those questions. If I did not get to yours, it is put on file. We will get to it shortly. Have a great one, Bucknutters.